So as you know that in the case where the charge is going to experience the force in the case of in the presence of magnetic field. So from the experimental observation, it is said that the force which is experienced by the charged particle is directly proportional to the magnitude of the magnetic field. Okay, so if the magnetic field value is more, so more is the force experienced by the charge. Okay, and the next one is nothing but it is said that the force is proportional to the charge. Okay, so if the magnitude of the charge is more, okay, even the force experience is greater. Okay, and the next is nothing but we said that it is proportional to the velocity component, that is the v sine theta. Okay, so as we know that when we resolve this v into two components, that is one is v cos theta, that is along the direction of magnetic field, and one is the v sine theta. Nothing but k, so where the value of k comes out to be as 1. Okay, so with this we are going to write the same equation in terms of vector form, in the form of vector form. So that is nothing but vector f is equal to small q into vector v cross vector b. Okay, and we just also gone through the how we are going to find the, I mean, the direction. Okay, so always the force experienced by the charge will be perpendicular to the velocity and magnetic field. Okay, you can see in the figure the velocity, that is v sin theta, is along x-axis and the magnetic field is along the y-axis. So obviously the force experienced by the charge should be perpendicular to these two axes, so it is along the z axis. Okay, so coming to the special case, we just went through that what happens when the charge is stationary. So when the charge is stationary, when you substitute, when you take out this equation, f is equal to bqv sin theta. Okay, so if you take that, if the value of theta is equal to 0, okay, sorry, if the v is equal to 0, that is when the charge is stationary. So what happens, the force value, f value, is nothing but equal to 0. That means that if the charge is stationary, that charge doesn't experiences any force in the presence of magnetic field. That is the first point. And the second point is nothing but we just went through that if theta is the angle between, okay, if theta is equal to 0 degree or 180 degree, so what happens when you substitute the value of theta, that is sine 0 is nothing but equal to 0, or sine 180 is nothing but it is also equal to 0, so hence the force experience will be 0. That means that when the charge is moving along the direction of magnetic field or opposite to that of the direction of magnetic field, so the charge, I mean the force experienced by the charge will be nothing but equal to 0. Okay, so this is regarding the force on a moving charge in a magnetic field, right? So next, the third case is nothing but when is that we say that the charge experienced, that is the force experienced by the charge is maximum. Okay, that means that when the charge is moving exactly perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, so the charge experiences the maximum force. That is when the angle theta is equal to 90 degree, because sin 90 is nothing but equal to 1, right? So hence the value of f comes out to be as bqv. Okay, so next, by making use of this Fleming's left-hand rule, as you know that the thumb denotes the direction of force experienced by the charge, and B denotes the, that means that the first finger represents the direction of magnetic field, and the middle finger represents the direction of current. Okay, so when you stretch your left hand, okay, where the thumb, the first finger, and the middle finger, where they are stretched, okay, all the three are perpendicular, so thumb denotes the force experience, b denote, I mean the first finger represents the magnetic field and the middle finger represents the current. Okay, so this is how we are going to find the force experienced by the charge by making use of this Fleming's left hand rule. Okay, so next, coming to this Lorentz force, as you know that Lorentz force is nothing but it is the total force experienced by the charge which is moving in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Okay, So as you know that the equation which is given by the force experienced by the charge which is moving in the presence of electric field is nothing but F is equal to Q into E. So that F subscript E is nothing but equal to Q into E. Okay. So that subscript E denotes that it is about the electric field. So next is nothing but when it is the magnetic field. Okay. When the charge is moving in the presence of magnetic field, the equation where the force experienced by the charge which is moving in the magnetic field is given by F is equal to, that is F subscript M is equal to Q into vector V cross vector B, vector V cross vector B. Okay. So clubbing these two, okay, that is the total force. You are going to get vector F is equal to vector E plus vector F. Okay, vector F is equal to vector F subscript E plus vector F subscript M. Combining these two, you are going to get vector F is equal to, taking Q as the common, Q into vector E plus vector V cross vector B. So this is the total force experienced by the charge which is moving in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Okay. So next is regarding the expression for the force on a current carrying conductor in magnetic field. So as you know that if you take a current carrying conductor, okay, which is placed in the presence of magnetic field making an angle of theta. Okay. So in the figure you can see B represents the the magnetic field, and I represents the current, and L is the length of the current, and theta denotes the angle. Okay. So theta is the angle between the current and the magnetic field. So, in order to derive, to find the force experienced by the current carrying conductor. So, as you know that the force experienced by the charge in the presence of magnetic field is nothing but denoted by F is equal to Q into vector V cross vector B. Okay. So, in order to find the total charge flowing through the conductor, that is the total charge, okay, inside the conductor. So, we are going to use Q is equal to small n into AL into E. Okay, that A into L denotes the area and length of the conductor. E is nothing but the charge. Okay, so N is nothing but the number of charges or electrons per unit length. Okay, so next is substituting the value of Q in this equation. In this equation, the value of Q, you are going to get vector F is equal to small n into AL into E in the brackets V cross, vector V cross vector B. Okay. So that can be written as vector F is equal to NaEV into vector L cross vector B. Okay. So since we have studied that in the current electricity, I is nothing but equal to NeAV, right? So replacing that NaEV divided, by I, you are going to get the expression as vector F is equal to I into vector L cross vector B. Okay. So in terms of this, in terms of vector form, in terms of magnitude, we are going to write this one as F is equal to BIL sin theta. Okay. So F is equal to BIL sin theta, or F is equal to ILB sin theta. One and the same. Okay. So this is the force experienced by the current carrying conductor when it is placed in the presence of magnetic field. Okay. So I think we just went till here in the last class, I think, right? So in the special cases also we just went through, I think, that is when the conductor is placed parallel or anti-parallel to the direction of magnetic field, what happens? The force experience will be nothing but equal to zero. So if you place that conductor, current carrying conductor, exactly perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, the force experienced by the current carrying conductor is maximum, that is BIL. That is nothing but according to the value of sin theta there, right? So sin 0 or 180 is equal to 0, whereas sin 90 degree is nothing but equal to 1. Okay. So I think till here we just went through in the last class. So now we will move to the next topic. Okay. So before that, do you have any doubts regarding yesterday's class? In case if you have any doubts, please let me know so that I'll clear your doubts. Then we will move to the next topic. Any doubts, students, regarding yesterday's class? Yes, any doubts? Reply, yeah. Okay, Meghana, no doubt. Okay. Okay, fine. We will move to the next topics here. That is nothing but motion of a charged particle in a uniform magnetic field. Okay. So in that you have, I think we have three cases there. Okay. So we will start with the first case here. That is when motion of a charged particle is parallel or anti-parallel to the magnetic field. The moving charged particle does not experience any force. I think this we have. Uh, we have just went through in the starting derivation itself, right? So whenever the charge particle is moving parallel or anti-parallel along the direction or opposite to the direction of magnetic field, the charge doesn't experiences any force, right? So that is the thing. So hence we are going to write that one as, so force experience F is equal to nothing but equal to 0. Okay. So next, coming to this case 2 here, that is when the charge particle moves perpendicular to the magnetic field. Okay. So here we are going to study that what happens to the charge when it is moving exactly perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Okay, just I'll read out that sentence there, explanation part. See, just go through. Figure shows magnetic field vector B directed normally into the plane of paper as shown by small crosses. A charge plus q is projected with a speed v in the plane of the paper. The velocity is perpendicular to the magnetic field. The force acting on the charge plus q due to magnetic field is given by F is equal to q into vector v cross vector b. That is nothing but equal to bqv sine theta. Okay. See here, first of all, that cross mark, when you just go through that figure there, okay, that cross mark denotes that the magnetic field is directed into the paper. Okay. So see here, just I'll make it clear. If the magnetic field are represented by x, that is cross, we call this one. Okay, that means that the magnetic field is directed into the paper or the board. Okay, whichever you are writing on that. In case if I am writing this cross on the paper, that means that the magnetic field is directed into the paper, that is towards the paper. Okay. Suppose if I write a dot instead of cross. Okay, if I write a dot, just you can see here, that means that it is the meaning of that is nothing but the magnetic field is out of the paper. Okay, the direction of magnetic field is out of the paper. That is the meaning. Whenever there is a cross mark, you need to understand that the magnetic field is directed towards the paper. Okay. When it is a dot, it is understood that it is the magnetic field is directed away from the paper. Okay. So this is regarding the meaning of that cross and dot. So now you can see in the figure it is a cross. Okay. Next you can see there the magnetic field is towards the paper, and you can see there v, the velocity of the charge is perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Okay. So what happens if the value of that theta is equal to 90 degree? So theta is nothing but what? It is the angle between the v and b, right? So if that is the case, bqv sine theta can be written as bqv sine 90 degree. So that means that sine 90 is nothing but equal to 1. So F is nothing but equal to bqv or qvb. Okay. So this is the force experienced by the charge when it is moving perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field. Okay. So now see here, what happens to this here is, let us say that uh, let me take this point. Okay. So you can see here the magnetic field is directed towards the paper. Okay. And the velocity, that is the charge, is moving towards the right. Okay. So to find the force experienced by the charge, okay, when it is moving perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, you can make use of this Fleming's left hand rule. Okay. If you hold the Fleming's left hand rule, okay, so what does that v denotes there? Okay, what does that the middle finger? Okay, the middle finger denotes the direction of the charge. Okay. Next, that, yeah, current or velocity of the particle. Okay. So the middle finger represents the direction of the particle, and the first finger represents the direction of the magnetic field and the thumb denotes the direction of force. So hence if you hold the your left hand, okay, and make use of this Fleming's left hand rule, so you can see that the force experienced by the charged particle will be in the upward direction. So the particle which is moving towards the right will be deflected towards the upward. Okay, so next when I take this point here, so you can see what happens. The particle is moving in the upward direction. Okay, the particle is moving in upward direction, so the middle finger represents the direction of that particle. Next, the middle finger, sorry, the first finger represents the direction of magnetic field, so the thumb represents the direction of the force experienced by the charge, right? So hence the particle which is moving in the upward direction will be deflected towards the left. Okay, so this is how when the charged particle is moving exactly perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, it will be continuously deflected. So when you just trace out that the path of the particle which is getting deflected and deflected again and again, so you are going to get a circle. Okay, so that is what they have given here. Okay, so since the charged particle which is moving perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field gets deflected again and again, okay, since it experiences the force, it deflects again and again, so the path traveled by the charged particle which is moving perpendicular to the magnetic field will be nothing but it is a circle, just you can see in the figure. So here just I'll read out this part here. This force acts on the particle perpendicular to both vector v and vector b. This force continuously deflects the particle sideways without changing its speed, and the particle will move along the circle perpendicular to the field. Thus, magnetic force provides the centripetal force. Okay, so even though the charged particle is getting deflected, so the speed of the particle doesn't changes. Okay, so what happens since the particle gets deflected, it experiences a force again and again. So hence we can say that the magnetic force is the one which provides the centripetal force. I think you have come across the centripetal force in your lower classes, right? So in order to make a particle to move in a circular path, okay, you need to provide some centripetal force. Okay, only when there is a centripetal force, the particle moves in a circular path. Okay, so since here the particle moves in a circular path, the centripetal force is provided by the magnetic force. Okay, that is the meaning. So hence you can write that centripetal force equation is nothing but mv square by r, that is nothing but equal to magnetic force. The magnetic force is nothing but given by bqv or qvb, right? So hence you can equate both. So the same equation can be written as mv square divided by qvb is equal to r. So okay, so where that r gives the radius of that circular orbit. Okay, you can see in the figure r denotes the radius of that orbit. Okay, circular orbit. So r value comes out to be as, cancelling that v on the numerator and the denominator, r is equal to mv divided by qv. Okay, value of r, that is the radius of the orbit, is nothing but equal to mv divided by qb. Okay, so if you substitute the value of, I mean if you take out that m to the numerator, sorry, denominator, the value of r comes out to be as r is equal to v divided by q by m into b. So that is taken as equation 1. Okay, so next coming to this time period. Okay, I think you are aware of this time period, right? So time period is nothing but equal to circumference of the circle divided by speed. Okay, what is the circumference of the circle? Circumference of the circle is nothing but equal to 2 pi r divided by speed is nothing but equal to v. Okay, so that can be written as, so substituting that value in equation 1, you are going to get that one as t into 2 pi v. The value of r is taken as mv divided by qb. Okay, so if you write that one as, cancelling that v and v, you are going to get the time period as t is equal to 2 pi m divided by qb. Okay, the value of t is nothing but equal to 2 pi m divided by qb. Okay, this is the time period. Next, in order to find the frequency, as you know that the frequency is nothing but the reciprocal of time period, right? So that frequency is denoted as f subscript c, that is nothing but equal to 1 by t, that is nothing but equal to qb divided by 2 pi m. Okay, so this is regarding the time period and the frequency of a particle which is moving perpendicular to the direction of the magnetic field. That is nothing but when the angle when the angle is 90 degree between b and b, so the path traveled, okay, the path of the particle is nothing but it is a circle. Okay, just go through once. In case if you have any doubts, please let me know. Okay, just go through the once. In some of the paper they have asked this question for 3 marks. Okay, so please go through. In case if you have any doubts regarding the explanation part or regarding the mathematical part, so please let me know so that I'll clear your doubts. ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ನಮ್ಮ ಮನೆಗೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ, ಹೋಗ್ಬೇಕು ಇವಾಗ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಇದೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ. ನಿಮ್ದಾಯ್ತಾ? ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ. Yes students, in case if you have any doubts you can ask, or else shall we move to the next topic? Any doubts, please do ask. Okay, fine. Shall we move to the next? Any doubts? Okay, fine. We will move to the next case here. That is nothing but when the charged particle moves at an angle to the magnetic field other than 0 degree, 90 degree, and 180 degree. See, as you know that when the particle is moving along the direction of magnetic field or opposite to the direction of magnetic field, that is 0 degree or 180 degree, so force experience is nothing but equal to 0, right? So what happens when the particle which is moving perpendicular to the direction of magnetic field, the force experience will be nothing but equal to bqa, right? So now we are going to study apart from these three angles, apart from this 0 degree, 90 degree, 180 degree, what happens, what is the path uh, traced by the particle, or the what is the path of the particle when it is moving other than this angle. Okay, so here I'll just read out that theory part first. A uniform magnetic field vector b is set up along positive x-axis. A particle of charge q and mass m enters the magnetic field vector b with the velocity vector v inclined at an angle theta with the direction of the field as shown in the figure. The positive x-axis they have given. Okay, so the direction of magnetic field is along the x-axis, and the particle q okay, and which has the mass m, enters the field b with the velocity v inclined at an angle theta. You can see that v is making an angle theta with the direction of magnetic field. Okay, you can see the vector v is being denoted by that red color there. Okay, so it makes an angle of theta with the direction of magnetic field. So now what we are going to do is, the v can be resolved into two components, which we have already come across, is right, resolving the resolving the terms into two components. That is nothing but, when you resolve, you are going to get the sine theta, the other one will be the cos theta. So you can see the v, if you resolve that v into two components, one will be along the x direction, that is vx. That vx is nothing but equal to v cos theta. Similarly, the another will be along the y axis. Okay, so that is nothing but denoted by vy, that is nothing but equal to v sin theta. Okay, so next, what do you mean by this v sin theta and v cos theta? We will go through here in the first 2 points there. Coming to the first point here, it is said that the component Vx along the direction of the field along x-axis, Vx is equal to V cos theta. The parallel component remains unaffected by the magnetic field, and so the charged particle continues to move along the field with a speed of V cos theta. What is the meaning of that? As we have known that when the particle is moving along the direction of magnetic field, it doesn't experiences any force, right? So what is the meaning of that? That means that the particle moves in a straight direction. Okay, in a straight line, it moves in a straight line without experiencing any force. Okay, so that is the meaning of that first point. Coming to the second point here, the component Vy perpendicular to the direction of the field, that is in the yz plane, Vy is equal to V sin theta. Due to this component of velocity, the charged particle experiences a force F is equal to BQV, which acts perpendicular to both vector V and vector B, which makes the particle to move along a circular path in the yz plane. Okay, so see here in the second point, what they have said is, they have taken the v sin theta component. So you can see there, the v sin theta component and the charge which is moving along the direction of magnetic field both makes an angle of 90 degree. So as we have studied, when there is a 90 angle is 90 degree between the velocity of the particle and the magnetic field, the particle experiences a force. That means that the path will be nothing but it will be a circular path, right? So that is the meaning of that. Okay, so that v sin theta and the direction of magnetic field makes an angle of 90 degrees. So the particle experiences the force which will be in a form of circular. Okay, circle. So now what they have said is, as we know that for a particle to make to move in a circular path, there should be a centripetal force. Okay, there should be a necessary centripetal force. So that centripetal force will be provided by the magnetic force, right? So hence what we are going to write, mv square divided by r is equal to bqv sin theta, we are going to write, correct? So in this case what we are going to do is, instead of mv square is nothing but what, mv square by r, it is nothing but the equation of centripetal force, right? Instead of, in the place of v, we are going to take v sin theta component. Okay, so instead of v, we are substituting the value of v sin theta. So hence that equation can be written as m into v sin theta whole square divided by r. Next is nothing but qvb sin theta, right? So again in the place of v, we are going to consider v sin theta there. So q into v sin theta, next b sin theta. So as we know that the angle between this v sin theta and the direction of magnetic field b is nothing but 90 degree. So hence that can be written as bqv sin theta. Okay, so or else that can be written as m into v sin theta whole square divided by qvb sin theta, that is nothing but equal to r. Okay, so hence the radius of the circular path is nothing but given by r is equal to mv sin theta divided by qb. Okay, so this is the radius of that circular path. Okay, so r is equal to mv sin theta divided by qb. How about the time period there? So the time period will be nothing but if you use that formula, t is equal to circumference of the circle divided by speed. So if you substitute the value of r in that, you are going to get the value of t as t is equal to 2 pi m divided by qb, right? So next, in terms of frequency, you can write that as the reciprocal of time period, f is equal to qb divided by 2 pi m. Okay, so hence the resultant path of the charged particle will be helix with its axis along the direction of b. So see here, the path of the charged particle will be a helix, because one component, that is v cos theta, if you take that, that means that the charged particle is moving in a straight line, right? Correct. Next is nothing but, if you take the v sin theta, the path traveled by the path of the charged particle will be nothing but the circle. So now it is a combination of a straight line and the circle. So the combination of the circle and the straight path will be a helix. Okay, so it is said that whenever a charged particle is moving, okay, when it is moving, where it makes an angle other than 0 degree, 90 degree and 180 degree with respect to the magnetic field, the path of the charged particle is nothing but, it is a helix. Okay, so this is the meaning of that third case. So just go through once about the third case. Okay, in case if you have any doubts, please let me know. Just go through the figure first, then go to the mathematical steps. Any doubts, please do ask. Okay, fine. Any doubts, students? So any doubts, please do ask. Shall we move to the next topic, in case if you have understood this? Okay, see you. Next, coming to this velocity sector. I don't know whether I'm able to complete this. Okay. See about this velocity selector. See, the meaning of this is nothing but, where you are going to decide the velocity of a particle which is moving in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Okay, we can adjust the velocity of a particle, okay, charged particle, which is moving in the presence of both electric field and magnetic field. Okay, that is the meaning of that velocity selector, where we are going to select or decide the velocity of a charged particle. Okay, So see you coming to the explanation part of that. I'll just read out that first paragraph there. The velocity selector is an arrangement of crossed electric and magnetic fields in a region of space used to select charged particles of definite velocity out of a stream of charged particles moving with different speeds. The velocity of the undeflected particles in a velocity sector is given by V is equal to E by B. Okay. So you can see there this which is in the brackets they have given irrespective of their charge and mass. Okay. So it is said that the velocity of the undeflected particle in a velocity selector is given by V is equal to E by B. Okay. So what happens? We are going to adjust the velocity of a charged particle which is moving in a presence of electric field and magnetic field in such a way that you can make that charged particle to move in a straight line without getting deflected, where the force on that charged particle, either it can be electric force or magnetic force, okay, so it doesn't get deflected. Okay, the force exerted on that will be not affected by the charge particle, so that the charge particle moves in a straight line. Okay, whenever that charge particle which is moving in a straight line, the velocity of the charge particle is nothing but equal to E by B. That is what they have given here. Okay, so see here, next thing is nothing but consider a charge particle q moving with a velocity v subjected to uniform electric field vector E and magnetic field vector B acting right angles to each other as shown in figure. So you can see there in the figure, the electric field is directed towards the y-axis and the magnetic field is directed towards the z-axis. Okay, so where the charge particle which is moving with a velocity v which is moving along the x-axis there. Okay, so that vector f subscript E denotes the electric field which is along the x-axis, whereas the vector f subscript b denotes the magnetic field which is opposite to that of the electric field. Okay, so what does it mean when this electric field and magnetic field, okay, this electric force and magnetic force which is acting on a particle is same, when this electric force and magnetic force becomes equal, so what happens, the charged particle doesn't get deflected, but it moves in a straight line. Without getting deflected, it moves in a straight line. Okay, so that is the thing. So we need to express that in terms of mathematics. So I think we have left out with few seconds. I'll just continue this thing in the next class again. Okay, so just go through what are the topics we have just gone through today, and also go through this velocity selector. Okay, so that when I'm explaining in the next class, it will be easy for you people to understand. Okay, so with this thing, I'll just conclude today's class. Before that, let me take the attendance. Okay, students, with this thing, I'll conclude today's class. Okay.